Today we are back with M140i content, and today I fixed the biggest problem that the M140i suffers from, and that is its suspension. And today I've teamed up with Bird's independent specialist in Slough to really take my BMW M140i to the next level. And the reason I'm teaming up with Birds is the fact that they developed their own bespoke suspension for the M140i. But not only am I upgrading its suspension, I'm giving this car something it should have got from factory. The M140i is a powerhouse in terms of performance, but BMW never gave the car a limited slip differential as standard. It was an optional extra, and an LSD is one of the best upgrades you can do to this car. Let's check it out. Hello Kevin.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming on the video.
No problem.
And obviously we're here about my M140i and we're upgrading its suspension, because I think one 4 point about the M140s is how they come from factory. And we're talking about obviously its suspension setup. And here at Driven Plus we do a lot of UK tours, European events, so a lot of mileage, a lot of driving on roads. Now I want to make this M140i not necessarily good on the track, but more kind of better for the road, a really good road car. So can you explain to me and the viewers what is it you offer for the M140 and how it differs from anything off the shelf?
Okay, well probably the first point is that we evaluate the standard car and try to understand and learn what's good, what's not quite so good, and then try and figure out how to make all of the wrong bits better. On the suspension side, I think that really is the Achilles heel of the M140i. It seems to be set up for fast German autobahns in a fully loaded condition. That tends to mean that the suspension is too stiff, or it certainly feels stiff. If you want to get rid of that feeling and generate more traction and ride quality, you have to address the suspension components. So essentially you start with trying to understand what spring rates you need for the car, which means that you've got to measure the car, you need the corner weights, you need the entire body mass loaded with a driver in it and all that kind of good stuff. And what you're trying to ascertain is what the frequency of the vibrations that are going to go into the car and what spring rates you need in order to be able to damp them comprehensively. So you always start with the spring rates. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go down in spring rate to make the car feel better on UK frequency roads. It has to be able to work in conjunction with the damper. So once you've got what you believe the spring rate's right, you can put the springs on the standard car and test to see whether you've got the handling balance right in general. Once you believe that you've got the right spring rates, you can then start dealing with the damping. The only way you can get damping right for the entire spectrum of driving capability on UK roads is to use a Bilstein. As far as I'm aware, they're the only damper manufacturer that can give you true damper curves.
Okay.
So you can get the right bump and rebound damping at slow speeds, medium speeds and high speed damping. So we obviously chose to work with Bilstein. They've got a fantastic facility at Leicester where they've got their own dynamometer, so you can take a standard set of Bilsteins, get them to show you what the damper curves are, and then you can give them to the engineer to manipulate those curves to give what he believes you want. Once you get that, you can get Bilstein to build you a special set of dampers. They take a standard set of dampers and they put the curves in that you have requested. You put them on the car, you test it, and you either give it the thumbs up or the thumb down. In this particular case, we had already decided what spring rates that we needed on the basis of what we'd used on other cars, and it turned out that we got it wrong. So we had to skip a whole load of springs and start again from scratch with our new suspension guys. So we ended up with the correct spring rates and consequently the correct damper rates to keep them fully in check.
So obviously this is what makes a difference. So you've got bill-side dampers with your own springs.
Yes.
And that's how this is very, very different. Because as you say, the damping on the M140, I recently did a road trip around Wales, and it's very bouncy on a B road.
Yes.
And obviously we'll come on to the LSD in a minute, but obviously the damping that'll affect, as you say, putting power down. So it is really interesting. That's why I've chose to come here. To go for this bespoke setup.
Yeah, sort of a little bit of anecdotal sort of evidence really here is that if you get the suspension right on the car, you will be able to enjoy the drive much more of the time, use the power much more of the time, and although it will give you better traction, because you're able to access the power more frequently, you then immediately notice that you haven't got enough traction. So you're pushing the car a little bit harder with more safety and no unwanted reactions from the car on the dynamic stability control. Once you've got that, you can drive the car more quickly and more safely, but then you can figure out that the next thing that the car hasn't got is traction. So hence you end up with the Quaife differential.
Probably one of the biggest things you can upgrade on an M140 because they don't come with one as standard.
Yeah, I mean BMW do their own M Performance differential, which is nice and cheap, but you know the big difference between the Quaife and the M Performance is that the Quaife will never wear out, whereas the M Performance has got clutches in it, and typically clutches wear out. So you might get maybe 50, depends on how hard you drive, but you might get 50 or 60,000 miles out of it.
Right.
Whereas with the Quaife, all you need to do is change the oil at 60,000 miles and it'll go on forever.
Yeah, when I bought the M140, I've had one before. An M140i was my first fast car, and you know, I didn't really I was immature in terms of how I wanted from a drive. I just wanted power.
Yeah.
But now I've matured in terms of what I want from a car is, right, I've got this kind of blank canvas with an M140. The first thing I want to do now is sort the suspension. And then,
I would say you're dead right.
Now, for those who are maybe looking to upgrade, why is it important, and what does an LSD do in terms of, because they're not cheap,
No.
They're expensive, and especially with the M140s now, the price point, you think, why am I going to spend that much to do this when I'm just having fun? Why should you upgrade to an LSD and an M140i?
Well, basically, all cars without a limited slip diff are essentially one-wheel drive. So if you try to pull out of a side turning or something like that, you will already know that you haven't got enough traction, and you will get one wheel spinning or the traction control will intervene. And basically that is just wasting energy and power. In order to make the car accelerate quickly, you need as much traction as you can get. Using any form of limited slip diff will effectively transfer the torque from the spinning wheel to the one that has got most grip.
Well, Kevin, I think that gives us a great explanation of what your stuff does. Really excited. I'll be here next week. So what I'll do, I'll hand you the keys.
Okay.
And I'll see you next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Cheerio.
Cheers. So I'm back in my BMW M140i. So Birds have had the car for a week. Picked the car up this morning from Kevin. I got the train all the way down from North Wales. And I think public transport did themselves proud today. So thanks to those guys. I'll be honest, I've literally picked it up 10 minutes ago and I don't know kind of the differences yet because I haven't properly driven this car. But what we are doing is going to be a little twist. So not only are you going to hear my thoughts, I'm inviting Tommy from Paragon Cars on the channel to drive this car as well, because he's got a BMW M140i. Don't think he's done any suspension mods. He certainly hasn't done the Birds modifications. So we're going to get to know his thoughts as well. So we're 26 minutes away. Let's drive there and meet Tommy. So we have arrived in Watford. Here is my 140 and here is Tommy's standard M140i, although you have done a res delete, mate, haven't you?
Yes, I have done a res delete, so it sounds better than yours.
Yeah, we've already figured that out. It definitely does sound better, and I am due a resonator delete, or maybe I'll just go full system.
Yeah, but one thing I'm not sure about is that it's going to handle better than yours, because you've done something to your car, haven't you?
I have, yes, and I want you to test it out and tell me the difference between stock and bird suspension.
I'm so excited.
Are you ready to go?
Yes.
Let's go. Right, mate, first question.
Yes.
What do you think about the sunroof? That's an option you do not have.
It's very good. And it's very rare on these 3 doors, actually, isn't it? Right, let's give this a little test, shall we? Oh, God. Immediately, 10 times better.
Straight off the hook as well,
yeah, yeah, straight off the bat. It hooks up. Turning is better. The diff just puts the power down.
You can feel it bite as well now, I think. But the other thing I think is, yes, you've got the grip, but now you've also got the rebound of the suspension.
Oh, yeah, like over that bump there, just gorgeous. But the thing is, in my car, you'll go over that bump and it won't settle immediately.
Yeah.
So you get this kind of pogoing effect. Whereas this, it just, oh God, it's really good. It's really, really good.
You enjoying yourself, mate?
Oh yeah. I could do this all day. Good. I think I might be sold. Like, a lot of people, as you said, will remap the engine, they'll do crazy stuff to the engine first, but you can't use the power, so it's just pointless.
Yep.
Whereas what this car has is already a fantastic engine, but it needs a bit of help with the chassis, because in stock form they are just a bit pants.
Well, stock form, essentially, it's just a normal 1 Series with a big engine.
Exactly, exactly. But I mean, this is...
So Birds understands the potential of an M140i and sorts out the suspension and makes it a usable sports car.
Yeah.
Hot hatchback.
It feels like a sports car. If anything, do you know what? I would say it feels quite similar to something like an older Porsche 911. It has like the same amount of softness in the damping, but the same amount of rebound, if you see what I mean. It just settles so quickly into a corner that it feels like you can push it immediately. It responds to your input straight away.
It feels natural, yeah.
Yeah, it feels natural. You're not waiting for the car to do stuff before you can actually have fun. And the thing is, when it starts sliding, you know exactly what it's going to do as well.
Exactly, it's manageable power, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what to expect.
It's much more like an M car now, where you just, it feels intuitive almost. Just like...
And I think now, all it needs is stage 1 remap, 430 horsepower.
Absolutely.
Maybe a little bit more bitier brakes, I think.
Yeah,
Responsive
yeah.
brakes.
Maybe some like AP racing brakes or something.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah. I'm not made of money, Tommy.
Yeah, after paying for this mod, I can imagine you've got nothing left.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you like it.
Oh yeah, honestly.
You look like you like it.
Yeah.
By the way you've been driving the car, you're like, this is fun.
It's great.
It makes you want to drive the car more.
Yeah, yeah. It just makes you want to, just start on a Sunday morning. My stock 140 sounds good, but like I'll only really drive it, maybe once every couple of weeks. But this is just, I'd want to drive this every day. Do you know what? It's made it a better daily driver whilst also making it a better driver's car.
I think you've nailed it to a T there, 100%. Yeah, because it's a comfortable drive now as well. It's not just how it feels around a corner on a bumpy road. It's how it is on a day-to-day basis, which is sorted that out as well.
That's just it's way better, honestly. Like double the car. It's like seriously good.
Well, I'm happy that Tommy's happy, and I value your opinion. And thank you for coming onto the channel.
It's all right, anytime, as long as you bring this.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, are you buy bird suspension for your 140?
Yeah, I think so. Gonna have to, aren't I?
Yeah, well, I'm sure you'll see. But anyway, thank you for watching our video. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to our channel, check Tommy's channel out as well, Paragon Cars London. Leave a subscribe on that channel as well, because he gets some nice POV tests on that one, don't you?
Oh yeah.
And you do your thing of your 30 to 70 time.
Yeah, real world acceleration.
There you go. So cheers guys, we'll see you soon.